gone through for education. Through the whole life around, they got so beautiful. Introduce her to people, now she's so famous. She's my baby, my one and only kicking place. No one passes my way from looking and saying, oh yes. I see some guys who want to enjoy but I'll never fall. I see some guys who want to take away my own pain. Every day she passes by, they won't stop calling her name. I look at them and say, guys, wait for your time. Oh, wait for your time, oh God, wait for your time, oh, you ugly babu, wait soya, babu, wait soya, oh, you ugly babu, wait soya, babu, wait soya, oh, you ugly babu, wait soya. You know what it takes me there to where she is to get my friends. You know what I want you to live up, you live for shining on the road. It is hard work for rain, Lord, from the heart. Oh, you ugly babu, that's who you are. It is hard work for rain, Lord, from the heart. Oh, you ugly babu, that's who you are. Monkey finish digging while the babu wants to draw water. Monkey waste again, babu wants to win the tree. Monkey sweet the house, babu wants to relax in it. Oh, you ugly babu, fresh moya. Fresh love, fresh love, fresh moya. Hey, fresh love, fresh love, fresh moya. Fresh moya, babu, fresh moya. Oh, you ugly babu, fresh moya.
Babu Westmoya. Oh, you ugly Babu Westmoya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. Welcome, welcome. It's Saturday evening, and we are here, and we are going into a little bit of history and blending it with the present. Guess what we got for you? Political music of Liberia and their implications. You do not want to miss this show. It will be a thrilling show. We got everything packaged for you. Many of you have listened to Poroko songs. The one that I remember that we will talk about was during Gange's time, and it goes like this: you pay your bill, I pay my bill, but where? No one know where the money go. You want to listen to that one? We are right here. We will talk about it. How it started and how it ended and what happened to Taylor at that time. So we're starting from Tottenham all the way to our man Bekube. And so you don't want to miss this show. If you are here, hit that share button. Again, you heard me. We are talking about political music of Liberia and their implication from Tottenham to President Weah. At this time, you need to hit that share button. Let me welcome my fellow panelists here. Joining us today in studio is Desmond Finlay. Desmond is a regular panelist here at Focus on Liberia. We are happy to always have him. He's any expert here as an analyst. We really love what he does. Desmond, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you once again, Anthony, and hi, Mr. Ja. How you guys doing today?
Wonderful, excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Especially when it's politics.
I know. Oh,
So, Mr. Ja, I am excited. You put in a lot of time, and you say we have to do this. We got to look at the political music of Liberia and their implication. We're starting from Tubman. I want to hear all the music, maybe not all, but most of the music that were played from Tubman all the way to Do. And because that time I was small then, and we already want to learn that piece of history. So I'm here. How ready are you?
Excellent. I mean, high spirit. The concept of political music is nothing new.
Okay.
Even on the African continent, we heard people like Sonny Okusu, Papa's Land, and all that. So anytime music from reggae to all the different political music, Liberia is nothing new. There was some music that praised the president, exalted and worshiped the president. There were times the music was critical of the current administration. So we're going to go through that, and we want our viewers to follow us and go with us. We're going to open the phone line very, very soon so that you can become part of it. We don't have it all. We don't have all the music. So if you have music that you want to share that took place at that time, and what was the prevailing circumstances at that time, we want you to let us know. At the beginning of the show, the music we were playing was something by Sunday Gadier Ball. We say, Okle Bamboo, wait small. This was, some said he was speaking in tongues that instead of girlfriends, somebody took the country from somewhere now and you want to run to be president, Okle Bamboo, wait. So we're going to see from the days of Tubman to current time to go through all the music and see what they meant or what it means today. Desmond, I know when we told you that we're inviting you on the show, what was your initial reaction? Let our audience know.
First, I was excited. I'm always excited to be here. This discussion enlightens me every day. It takes me away from what I'm focused on a daily basis and drive me back to what I love, because I love politics in every nature that it comes in, from music to poems to so I come here to learn a lot. And so coming here today, hearing the topic when I got a call for answering, I was elated just because I knew today when I leave here today, I will be sharper than I was when I came. So that's one thing that brought me here, and it broadens my political landscape because I'm not a politician by training anyway. So,
all right, folks, you heard it, Dad. As you can see, my little usual smile. I am excited for this. Stay with us. Then they told you you don't want to miss it. Those of you who were not old enough during the Tubman, the Tubman, and the Do time, you will get a taste of that beautiful piece of history, whatever it was. We have it here packaged for you. Mr. Jack, you have to get us started. What you have?
All right. The first music is Liberia, Land of Liberty, President Tubman. There we go.
All right.
Back in 1822, from far across the sea, there came some ships with pioneers seeking liberty. They founded Liberia, land of liberty. What a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. Land of sunshine, land of palms, and riches yet untold. But the richest ore that can be found is the people's hearts of gold. They're the people out Liberia, land of liberty. What a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. Liberia led all Africa in democracy. Now to give an answer to the world is her destiny. So here's to Liberia, land of liberty. What a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. From Monrovia to the Cape to Nimbus Peak so tall, a united people under God will show the road for all. They're the patriots of Liberia, land of liberty. What a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free.
All right, Dennis, hold it there. I'm hungry for
a uniting ideology that answers hate and greed. He's the leader of Liberia, land of liberty. What a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. Setting the nations free.
All right, folks. We've told you way back in the days of President Tubman. I believe that song was during the glorious day of President Tubman as president of the Republic of Liberia. Then as I was listening and dancing to the beat, it tried to tell me that if you are the way you could show that you are a patriot, that means you had to be able to support President Tubman. Is that the sense that was around during that time?
Well, the main thing that he said there was President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nation free.
Free.
And I listened to historians, especially Dr. Brewer, who believe that this whole idea of father politics, the president being the father of the nation, started with Tubman. Okay. And so if you hear that song, that this man is setting the way, will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nation free. That set the stage for what today we know as the Papa or Father President, where the president is the head of LFA, he's the chief of sports, chief patron of sports, he's the visitor of the university, he's the feminist in chief, the president is the Tano, is the Bodio, is the Dakmana. They say it started with Tubman. And then listen to the song and listen to it.
Don't forget, it's the Bekube.
Well, I don't know about Bekube. That's one.
Yeah, so the first thing, and before we get into the politics of the song, what I want to discuss is the demographic of the song. Just hearing the song, right? That song, just hearing that song raised a lot of questions for me. What was our voting block then for that song to be the song of the campaign, right? Because if you look back to 1940s, the 40s, the 30s, if that song is playing in Liberia, who are listening to the song and who the people are who's the voting block that song is going to appeal to? Because you got to understand the song first.
Yeah.
Right. So if you listen to the diction of the song, the way that people are singing, the language, the tune.
Yeah.
Guarantee that song wasn't appealing to the native people in Liberia. It's not a native Congo discussion I'm trying to bring on. Yeah, I'm just trying to, in my mind, when I hear that kind of song, I'm thinking like, what's the voting block?
Right. Like the educated people you are saying, people that couldn't really speak much English wouldn't understand the song.
Which is the bulk of the country. So when I say that, I draw that as a conclusion, not a conclusion, but just a line to something. This song, when I hear this song, the only thing I can see for this song in my mind is when I hear it, just the diction alone, it brings me all the way to 1980. My connection there is this song was alienating, was showing that the voting bloc was alienated for a long period of time up to 1980.
So, but the song, I mean, I like how they talk about Liberia being Africa, the number one, right? Yeah. So it's kind of elevating Liberia to that point, but at the same time taking Tubman alone that he's the one responsible. So I think this song was to make Liberians proud. Don't you see it that way?
That's why I said before I get into the analysis of the song itself, right? Okay. The song is saying, I'm just saying, well, the first thing when I hear the language of the song, that I put in a time frame when what the song is appealing to. Let's say if it's a song based on election, what I think about is how the song alienated the bulk of the public. But now when you talk about the words in the song, how the song relate to the people that are going to listen to it, Tubman is the ultimate person that's going to do the most for the country, right? He's going to be the one. He's the one going to give you the vision to where the country needs to go. Tubman is the sole person that can get the country there. When you listen to the song, right from Nimba Peak, the Cape all the way to Nimba Peak, Tubman is the man to make Liberia get there. So that's that, like you said, the patronage. Their songs illustrate patronage. Right? There's nobody that can do it but this guy. So that's why I go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Jad, as I listened to the wordings, patriotic wordings, and this song was being produced or sung or being played at the time, we all know that the American-Liberians occupied the governance structure of our country. And this song was trying to show that these guys are in control. You are living in paradise here. And at that time also, that was when most of our great-grandparents used to say, that's the people thing, lead the people thing. So I'm looking at it, I say, that's another way of saying these are the ones that are better at doing it. They are doing it. Let us just follow. All is well. And that's kind of exalted, established Tubman as that. No wonder why he ruled Liberia for 27 years. You can tell from that song.
Right. All right. I don't see it that way a
Mm-hmm.
lot, but that's your opinion. But let me bring you another thing, or things. I know we have a lot of songs to play, but things that were happening at that time.
Okay.
One of it, what happened was in 1968, I believe, when the senior family was charged for treason under Tubman. And at that time, the whole country were in solidarity with the president. So people were, the 9 counties at that time, they were carrying petition to the president, even though that was a clear lie, treason charge, they lied on HB Formula Senior, but that was the day. So at that same time, there was a lady who was the woman leader in Sino County, in my county, called Mrs. Delcina King Draper. Delcina King Draper wrote a poem that was published in the Liberian Star, I believe, newspaper at that time. And I want to read the poem for you, and it will go in line, something very similar to the music that was just played. And this is entitled, I want you to listen very carefully to our viewers also. Please listen to the wordings and take note. The title, Why Liberians Must Love Tubman, by Mrs. Delcina King Draper. I read, listen and hear, oh hear, you wicked, jealous, senseless, over-ambitious, selfish, and deceitful handful of plotters. If you love our Liberia, glorious land of freedom, you must love Tubman, the builder, beautiful, upholder of our great heritage. If you love liberty, you must love Tubman, who gave us equal rights. If you love prosperity, you must love Tubman, who unearthed our wealth. If you love stability, you must love Tubman, who holds this country 24 unbroken years. If you love unity, you must love Tubman, who has united every tribe and clans of ours. If you love dignity, you must love Tubman, who has built Liberia second to none in Africa. Look and hear, oh hear, you good for nothing, no vision, foolish, blind, mischief maker, Liberian plotters. If you love paved streets, you must love Tubman, who has paved the dirty streets of every city. If you love modern buildings, you must love Tubman, the designer of modern Liberia. If you love flying from county to county, you must love Tubman, who gave us the first national airline. If you love electricity, running water, telephone, television, and radio systems, you must love Tubman, the producer of these systems. If you love traveling relaxed in your car, you must love Tubman, who has linked the counties. Tubman, Sino girls, and every sound-minded, true, loyal, God-fearing Liberian men, women, girls, boys, young, old, and crippled, dearly loved and honor Tubman because we love Liberia.
Wow.
Can I get an amen?
Well, I'm not going to say amen to that because there's a word I captured there. Plotters, plotters, plotters. Who were being referred to as plotters at the time?
Those were the people who plotted to kill the president because HB from Senior was being accused of plotting to overthrow the government, treason. I think they said it was a national holiday like July 26th, and he was an ambassador in East Africa. So he came for that occasion. And it was during that time, it was announced that he was planning to overthrow the government. So these are the people that are referred to in the poem, that this was just a minority. So they called them, handful of Liberian plotters.
Okay. So, Anthony, can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when I hear that poem is clear. If you take that poem and you take out Tubman name and replace Tubman name with Doe, you get a point from 1980. You take that same poem, you take out Doe's name and put Taylor name, that you get a point from the mid-90s. You replace that poem with, in 2005 with Ellen, you get an Ellen region, right? The point I'm trying to make here is there has been nothing new from our political base as it continues. The problem I see that's continued over the time, going back in history, that I see just listening to that point is this. We haven't gotten to the point where we understand the definition or the how we divide resources equitably, right? The reason why I say that is this. Once people are benefiting from this region or this situation right now, Liberian person, for them to step outside themselves and make a decision and say, you know what, how everybody else is benefiting, to do that numbers and say, it's a simple survey. Let me walk in my neighborhood and see how many people are doing well in my neighborhood. We don't do that. But the country is always well because Desmond Finlay, is doing well. Mm-hmm. So definitely the country cannot be doing bad. And to this day, you get the same thinking. Like after 2017 election, the first thing I resulted was what? It's our time. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean by it's our time? Is it time for the Liberian people? Is it time for CDC? Is it time for Georgia and crew? Like, what does that, how do you equate that? So when I hear that poem is and furthermore, I think you mentioned that the lady that wrote the poem got promoted, right?
Yeah, let me read that. That was Mrs. Desina King Dripple, who at the time was the president of a women's club in Sino County, was the author of the poem. It was written sometime in 1968 when Ambassador Famulus Senior was being tried for treason. Later on, upon the recommendation of President Tubman, Mrs. Dripple was selected to serve as a representative of Sino County without the full participation of the citizens of Sino. So she was selected to represent me.
Selected to represent you without your acknowledgement.
No. Without even the knowledge that this was happening.
Exactly. So you see, patronage is paid highly, besides it just being the nature of the day, it's highly rewarded.
Yeah.
It's highly rewarded. So people, like I see, and so it's hard to think about this, right?
All right. Let's move on to Tubman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Asuni, you have anything?
Yeah? Yes. I just wanted to say, if you look at the exaggeration in that poem, you can imagine the kind of political blasphemy, if I want to put it that way, that was unfolding at the time. You know, it was just over the roof that Tubman paved every street in every city. I am from the city of Sastan. I was born there. I reached the age of 18. Before leaving that place, I did not see any paved road. So to say that when it was not even a reality, and this woman got appointed as representative for Sino County because she has praised Tubman to that extent with nothing but lies or exaggeration, it is nothing different today that we see. There are people who occupy key positions today in our government because they exalted their leaders. Eugene Fagon is one of those, you know, but let me progress. Yeah. You are on mute, Dennis. You are on mute. You are on mute, Dennis. Stop that.
It's good. You mentioned that there's nothing new. Things keep repeating. Yeah. So we're going to go now. The next president, William R. Tubman Sr., Jr., and here's the music.
President Tubman. President
Tubman.
President Tubman. President Tubman. President Tubman. When nothing a President Tubman, higher to the neighborhood. Higher to the neighborhood. Higher to the neighborhood. When nothing a President Tubman, higher to the neighborhood. When nothing a President Tubman, higher to the neighborhood. Everybody be to the neighborhood. My friend, let me tell you one thing.
If you're watching Focus on Liberia, we are looking at the political nature of Liberia and their implications.
Let it good for you to wake up for yourself, mama.
The phone lines are open for you to call. Maybe we missed something.
It's not for yourself. It's gonna be for your grandchildren.
connect the dots and inform ourselves.
That wake up. I want to thank everybody to make that fun. Maybe you, oh mama, oh brother, oh sister, oh uncle, oh grandma. When I think of President Lava, I don't know. When I think of President Lava, when I think of President Lava, I want everybody to be totally for. I don't know.
The song that is being played is a song that was played during the glorious day of President Tubman. And if you are following us here, we are looking at the political songs of Liberia from Tubman-Weah and their implication.
When I think of President Tubman, higher total involvement. So, gentlemen, this was the slogan during the Tubman era. Total involvement for higher heights. Tubman wanted the whole country to be totally involved. But at that time, Tubman was still riding on the vestiges of what Tubman left, that is, one party state. In fact, Tubman completed Tubman's term before starting his own term. Okay, but according to the music, anytime the name Tubman comes to mind is total involvement, higher heights. Your thoughts?
That's an ego.
All right, so I'll go for A, right? So I was just listening to the song and just trying to think, how could this be different from President Tubman, right? Because what we see in political history is every leader coming after the other will say, I'm coming to change the dynamics. That's the word they use. The common word now, the trajectory. We want to change the way of doing things. And so for Tubman to come in to have followed that same pattern in terms of capturing the people's minds to drive them along his political agenda and leadership, this song surely displays that. Now, what may be different is that at least for Tubman, he kind of included the people total involvement, bringing the people along. Was he bringing the people along, or did he intend to bring the people along for their own benefit, also as to be able to maximize his political presence in every nook and cranny of the country? Well, other pundits can decide that. But what I see is that politics is a game of number. And so this was, how do I get them involved? President Tubman, at the time, everybody was looking up to him. For me, I would change their thinking and say, look, come, let's move. And that's why he did. I don't see how that was actually different in terms of preventing and perpetuating himself in power. I don't see that.
So for me, when I hear this song, there's a slight difference for me. The first song that you played, Tubman, was being praised, idolized. He's the only one that can do it. This song is saying, all of us can do it. I need everybody. Right. Whether actual action on the ground, that's something we have to, that's not what we're here for today. But the difference in the song as it relates to from Tubman to Tubman, and I don't even know if this song was election time. Was it election time, Mr. John?
No, not necessarily.
It was just the time of the day, right?
There was no election during Tubman's time.
My point. That's why I wanted to reference that. So the song wasn't, number one, he wasn't campaigning for nothing. Number two, it wasn't nothing trivial. He was actually trying to change the trajectory of the thought process, as if to say, this is not about me. It's about us, right? Total involvement, right? The song is not praising Tubman. Tubman is there, but we need total involvement, higher heights. I think everybody remember this song from Tubman. Everybody remembers a few things. Higher heights, number one. Number two, total involvement. Then President Tubman is number third. There's the third thing that comes along when you think about his reign. So not reign per se, because I'm like king. Sorry, his time like. But
and I think Tubman did quite well to change that. Sometimes I don't know whether it's because he was assassinated. That's the sympathy, or Liberians really believe that. But I think he did something to change the mindset so that actually when people think about Tubman, they actually think about total involvement. Whether it's the suit or is the physiology, people think about that.
So to put it to you this way, man. Fortunately for me, I got some. I have this discussion with my poor mom. She's 70 years old now, and in 1972, I came from America to go to Liberia to work, and she says this a lot. She talked about this a lot. She left and went to Maryland County to work. She was a nurse. She graduated from here, went back home, and as a nurse, she said she was the county director for nursing. Right. And she talked about that time frame. I said to say that's when Liberia was really Liberia getting involved. She really picturing, for me, when I look back on it, I said, but a whole bunch of people wasn't involved. And I'm talking about it from my youthful exuberance. She's like, but you really you don't understand, because like as a nursing director for a county, I went to every nook and cranny in the county. And every time the reporting structure was different, everybody was involved when Tubman was in. And compared to Tubman, because she went to school under Tubman, fortunately for her, she went to work on the Tubman. And the reason why they went to work on the Tubman, because when Tubman died, Tubman invited everybody overseas to come back home. As opposed to Tubman, she said Tubman was saying, if you overseas, stay there. Don't come back here. Because he didn't want a competition, so you stay there. So when Tubman became president, Tubman was like, you know what, everybody overseas with expertise, you'll come back home. And we can work. So that was the.
Let's get our caller involved very early, because when we transition to Doe, I think a lot of people have something to say.
Right.
So let's see what Doma has to say. Hello, caller. Doma, you are live. Our caller on the line, you are live.
Yes, hello.
Hello, your name and where are you calling from?
This is Gonkwai Doma, calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Mr. Doma, you're coming.
Yes, the music brings back old memories. I was in Liberia, Tubman time, Saba time, Doe time. And I heard you guys talking about, whether the song was appealing to some voting group, and you were talking about elections. I just want to tell you how elections were being held. Okay. I voted during Tubman time, but this is how they used to do it. In our town, like our village, they have quarter chiefs. The town was divided into quarters. So in the night of elections, where tomorrow, the town crier will go around and announce that tomorrow people are going to go vote for Tubman. So you are forced to go. You go to we were going to our clan headquarters. So my uncle was old. He had to go to the farm. So he designated me to go and represent him. Because you're forced to go. If you don't go, they're going to find you. So you go and they have a ballot box sitting in the center. And you guys go around the ballot box. You can go around the ballot box 100 times if you want. So we went there in the morning. We were voting until in the afternoon. The time we were in that clan headquarters, we were all casting ballots. You go around in the Palava hut, you cast the ballot with Tubman's name. When you take the ballot, you go around, you come, you say Tubman.
Meet Tubman or Tubman?
You come, you say Tubman.
Was it Tubman or
No, I
Tubman?
said Tubman. I voted for Tubman. Tubman time, I was very young. Tubman time, Tubman died when I was, I think, 12, 13 years old. So that's how they used to vote. So, I mean, the results were decided before elections were held. So, these songs were intended for praises for the leaders, for the leadership, because everybody in that country was supposed to show support and praise for Tubman or Tubman. So these songs were intended for that.
Thank you.
They were intended to interpret what was in the minds of all Liberians. That's what these songs were intended to do. So, I mean, that's a very nice program. I thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's take Amos Josh quickly.
Oh, okay. I wanted to play. Okay, let's get Amos, because Amos too, I think he saw Tubman.
Yeah.
And for the record, I was born the year Tubman died. If that's too old, well, Mr. Amos George.
You have to live, Mr. John.
Yes, sir. Dennis, how you doing?
Excellent. How are you doing? What's your contribution?
Okay. I do not want to speak too much on Tubman because I was not old enough to follow Liberian politics. But from Tubman, there's something different about Tubman. All the presidents from Tubman up to the present, there's something different. I can speak of Tubman. When Tubman took over, they had a project called the Speedy Road Project, which the aim was to reach the remote part of the market here, the farmers, so they can bring the produce to the market. So they introduced something called the Speedy Road Project, which lay on many roads in Liberia today. Then he introduced all the estates that you see in Liberia, Cabra, Stephen Tower, all the estates, it was Tower. Tower. Then the Motherlado High Schools, it was Tower that built the Motherlado High Schools. So if you look at him, the total involvement in higher height, that was the policy he was trying
and you are
to reach
he actually
everybody. Yes. So he was trying to bring everybody together and for people to participate because he said the aim of the Speedy Road was to raise the produce the farmers were bringing to give them some value to bring those produce to the market. So he introduced that, went to estates, built estates, Motherlado High Schools. He did that. He was the only president that accepted the multi-party system in Liberia prior to his death, before he died. The Progressive Alliance for Liberia was registered on October. That was done on October. So you can see what he was going. But what all of them have in common is this. 1950 coup plot, the 60s, that was 1950 Coma, then Famole. Then when Toba came there, he had a plot of Brown, which Charles Jordan was involved. When Dole came, the same thing. We saw a whole lot of range of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying something, yeah. But okay, let me just stop at Toba. But this was the difference. If you want to compare and contract Toba to all those leaders up to the present, that was what Toba added to the Liberian society, what he brought. He brought, and even look at the time, shoe factory, matcha factory, chicken factory, multiple group of companies. These companies were on Toba, where Liberians were producing soap, the types of Omo, all these things, shoes, uniform. It was on Toba that brought in this development to Liberia at the time.
So, Mr.
So
Jones,
I would say really, yeah.
I say hold the line because you and Mr. Doma, you hold the line because at least you got little history from little bit of Tubman and Tubman. So don't go. Hold the line. Let's continue on the show, please.
All right, Mr. John.
Okay.
Give us one more music.
Yeah. So let's go to President Doe. You know, President Doe. We all know the story that President Tubman was assassinated in a bloody coup. And so when that happened, here's the song.
Soja mama, soja oh mama, soja mama, soja oh mama. Say the little woman you see go, that she don't know. I say the country woman you lapa, that she don't know. Soja mama, soja oh mama, soja mama. I said the little woman you see go, that she don't know. I said the country woman you lapa, that she don't know. 1847 to 1980, 1847 to 1980. Some people say soldier be foolish man. Other people say soldier be no man. They were first fighting into power. 1980. Soldier become minister. Soldier become council member. Soldier become ambassador. Soldier become superintendent.
Watching TV?
How you call them?
You want to watch TV?
Gentlemen.
Oh, how you call them? Gentlemen. Oh, how you call them? Gentlemen. Oh, how you call them?
There you have it. This was a coup. Soldiers took over. Before then, they said the soldiers were living very poor and deplorable conditions. Now, when President Doe came to power through a coup, soldiers, according to the song, could become council member, could be minister. Before then, they were calling them Noko. So now it's soldier, and who born soldier? Countrywoman born soldier. That is coming on the heels of another slogan they used to say, countrywoman born soldier, then the other person born rogue. I don't want to mention that. That was dope. And before that, this was the song. But I was in third or fourth grade when President Doe came to power. And here's the song that I was taught in third grade or fourth grade. Okay. And I will sing it. Just give me a break. But
Okay.
let's talk about the song you just heard. We start with Desmond this time.
Okay.
Oh, the song, hearing that song is emblematic of the day again. Like they call it, or the caller just said. These songs, our election, what the results of the election was supposed to be, is emblematic of what the people on top believe they're supposed to happen. Right? So, example would be this song, they're talking about soldiers. This song has to cater to the person that the intended audience. And the audience is the audience of one. Not the audience of many, but the audience of one. Whereas you have an audience of many to listen to a song about your album, in Liberia, you want an audience of one. And that one person being is the president of the day. So though being the PRC, if you look at it, if you think about the song, the guy saying soldier became gentlemen, soldier became ministers and this, well, you got to look at it, the ministers, the people that became ministers that were soldiers, they were already ministers before. They were part of the intelligentsia, Amos Sawyer, Parkers Matthews. All these guys that worked in government, they just put a military uniform, they went to work the next day. So I think this is where our level of intelligence can be easily played upon. Right? When you say soldiers are becoming minister, what kind of soldier became minister? Bagama, you want to business training? No. Did Amos Sawyer go through training to become an officer? No. But one day they don't had a military, all became majors and they had ministerial jobs and stuff like that. The council at 13 had higher offices, and I use air quotes. I'm using it real loosely. They had higher offices, but they were being played upon like pawns on a chessboard because the nature of the day, they say the nature of the day. If you don't understand, people will run circles around you. And that's the number one thing that's happening now. Those songs were catering to the audience of one. When you hear this song, they're talking about soldiers. The soldiers, President Doe got to hear this song. The President Doe hear this song, he feels empowered. But it doesn't matter what President Doe's here because everybody else around him knows how to pull his button. But that's a different discussion. I don't mean to go that far.
Fair point there, Desmond. But yes, my take. First of all, let me agree with you on the point you made that, okay, they were talking about soldiers here, right? And I couldn't agree more with that. The other leg to it is that these soldiers, how were they being taken care of in terms of pay?
Correct.
During the presidency of Tubman and Tubman. Literally, they were not earning anything. Many of them were at a barrack. I don't know what the conditions of those barracks were, but when I grew a little older, those barracks that I saw, even up to now, they're not looking good enough for people who work for the government and making significant contribution. And so when Doe came to power, Doe being a member of the military, they felt that it was a liberation for them because they were at the economic ladder. And so somebody from their rank and file becoming president, they, attributed that success to themselves. The other part of it is, Native woman born soya. And then the other part, my brother Dennis Jaya does not want to mention is Congo woman born row. This is history. No matter how unpleasant it was or is, that is our history. We should be able to say it. History can always be pleasant. So
Right.
At the time, what was the general feeling? The general feeling among quote unquote, the natives was that the American Liberians were in power and they were just stealing. That was
Right.
the perception. They were stealing. And
Mhm.
so, though now coming to power, that means the native woman's son now can become minister, even though, like you said, how many of them became minister anyway? Of course, some of them became minister. We look at the Crown ethnic tribe, they dominated the Dole government. This is a fact that you know about. Not all of them were in the military. They were appointed people from an ethnic group and other places. So, yes, during that era, a lot of indigenous came to government. The progressive you're talking about, they were like educated, so Tobo had to use them because he needed educated people and he valued education. But to a certain extent, what role were they playing compared to the power players at the time? Not much. So I mean, this is what the song is saying, and it's sad that this was a song that trying to tell you this group of people were not treated fairly. Now somebody from their rank and file has come to power. It is their time to be to play a major role in the government.
And other songs that were being played was "Thanks to the People Redemption Council,"
Mm-hmm.
"Our Savior," "Our Redeemer,"
Mm-hmm.
"Our eyes are open," "Power to the People," and all that. Then the song I was taught
Mm-hmm.
in my little elementary school, all the way beyond God's back, goes like this: "This time is people's time. None who knows you but what you know. Now who your pa for who you are. This time is people's time." Then we start calling all the Samuel Kayondo. This time is people. And we really believe it. As a child, I was taught that song.
Desmond wanted to
But
make a contribution. Desmond.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to what Anthony was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said it earlier when we talked about Tubman. I told you the relation from that the initial song,
Mm-hmm.
how could connect that song to 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. That song that was played in 19 wherever, because 3 years before Tubman died, right? She said it was 24 years. She was 27-year president, so that's 3 years before he died. That song was sung by a man with an American accent. That song showed the level of divisiveness that the country was ran on at that point in time. How so many people were left out. So you take that song and you juxtapose that song next to the song that you just played, Native Woman Born Soldier, for 1980. You see the dichotomy there. There are two songs speaking about the same things, and it shows you how our country was flawed. How the country
that's a good point.
How the country was flawed. Anthony, everything you said is like the Crown people dominated at a certain point in time. The reason why I didn't want to, when I said which one it became, that song was actually relating to 1980. The old presidency when a minister and people enter, you talk about 83, 84, after his re-election, you can look there, then you see the trend continuing down the line. That's when you see the progressive actually leaving him and leaving the country and starting to form opposition towards him. But from 80, from 80, 81, 82, it was pure progressive-led decision-making. Right. So people can see until they learn. When they can in Liberia when door are open, then things started getting different. Right. So, but at the point I wanted to make, but you can see from that first song that you played today, and you listen to this song, you go in and think about it for a second, you see that, okay, 19 when Tubman was running during Tubman time with his family situation, you can understand that how the people, the masses, wasn't included. Just the vernacular in the song. How many people in Nemakante understood that song? Right? So you get a small population when you get in 1989, you cater into a bigger population, but the bigger you're catering into don't have the level of understanding that a small population have with the wealth.
Thank you.
But that's a different discussion.
Thank you. Mr. Jai, what do we do? We bring in the callers on the line for their info?
There was one caller he dropped off. Okay. But let's go to because in between there, between Do now all the way to Taylor, we have some, and unfortunately we don't have music here for the Taylor time, but
I got one.
We have Mr. CA who's gonna sing what was Taylor's time. And if you are here listening to us, there were a couple of music that we know, but we couldn't find them for the show, so you can you can sing them. Let's go, Mr. CA. Let's go Taylor time.
So Taylor time, the ones that I remember are those songs that showcase the economic condition when Taylor was in power, when things got tough. And one of such songs is this one that goes like this. You pay your bill, I pay my bill, but we don't know where the money go. That
Every
song,
day,
that
blah
was
blah
when
blah.
it was tough, really, really, really tough. And Taylor was under sanction. The ATU were all over the place. You know, when people are subjected to hardship and brutality, at some point they have to fight back. And some radio station found the courage to play this song. And at the time, it was a song that gave people some, life, that at least I can speak about the pain I'm going through. So many people have sang this song, but you needed to be careful where to sing that song. The other one that was also popular was Time So Hard, Time So Rough. Everybody going crazy. Everybody going banana. Then they will repeat it, banana. So Time So Rough, Time So Hard. At some point on the Radio Veritas and Star Radio could play it. Why? Because Star Radio at the time had international support. And so Taylor had feared that if he had touched that radio station, if we had put him in bad board with the international community, so he would not do that. The other radio station that I mentioned at the start, Radio Veritas, because Bishop Michael Pakula Francis was alive at the time, and he could not touch that radio station. And those two radio stations were the only two stations that could criticize Charles Taylor, or anybody could go and say something for them to play something negative. So those were the only two radio stations, to my recollection, that could play those tough songs that showcase the economic tough times that people were experiencing during Charles Taylor time. So at some point, Charles Taylor even joked about it because he felt that it was not going to be a good political decision for him to move on the radio station. So he said, well, you say time so hard, time will become even harder. You may not even be able to buy battery to listen to the radio. And that's how he joked about it. That's what I remember during Charles Taylor time.
But I really don't.
Okay, somebody is saying
Mhm.
Toke sung a song called "It Will Hurt You." Why you don't want to play that? That's Gayflow Goya. And
Yeah,
Gayflow, no, I don't know why our people like to talk like that.
Mhm.
We don't know all the songs. If you have any song, as we say,
Send it.
play it for us or say it.
Or
We don't
call.
have anything to
Call
hide
and talk
here.
about it. The phone lines are open.
Right. Call and say, and you can play from your radio or from your TV, wherever you have, and people will listen to it.
Right. You know, we
Miss-
all want to contribute here. So, folks, those of you who are listening to us, if you have a song and you remember the time that song was being played and what it meant at the time politically, the message you were carrying, either you send a link to us if it is on YouTube, we'll play it right away, or you can just call in and talk about it. If you have the ability to play it at your end, we'll all listen to it. We are just doing this so that we all can learn from it. So that's what we do. Mr. Jai, I think we should read some comments. Some people are making contribution too. Let us
Yeah,
go
go
along with
ahead.
them. All right. You want me to do that?
Yep.
Okay. This one, now we're feeling it from the bamboo. Somebody is talking, I don't know, maybe the person should call to talk about it a little more. Now we're feeling it from the bamboo. This person, right? Good morning from Australia. My focus on Liberia family. Somebody following us there. George Lobo writes, Thomas was a professional dictator, a very wicked old man. Eugene Hammer writes, she was very at that time. I don't know, but notwithstanding, she needed to do more. Let me make progress. Tubman's era will have everyone involved in the country's day-to-day activities. Tubman had the people of Liberia at heart, or they were at heart. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they say it, then when the leader come to power, we don't see the at heart. Our man Robert Gagwaya, how did the writer know what was in the mind of all Liberians to interpret this song? Robert is making that contribution. Let's
Bravo,
hear
that's what
from
right
our man
do.
Baton Kula. President William V. Estoman was a benevolent dictator, the chief patron of sports, the chief patron of this and that. That's why Mr. Jai was talking about. I mean, he was the chief for everything. Let's see, Gayflow took a son, I think a song called "It Will Hurt You." Why do you not want to play? Hey, took out that song, It Will Hurt You. I think I remember that, It Will Hurt You. Yeah. You can call and talk a little more about that. We will appreciate that. Those are a few comments, Mr. Jah.
All right. Then I think almost at it. So the Taylor songs continue. Then when they were, I think when he left or during the transition period time with Judy Bryant, at the end of Taylor time, they were talking about elections. So people started trying to vie to be president, right? People started organizing their campaigns to run. And so Giorgio Butini came up with a song that we want to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, son of God, therefore, glad with the great opportunity given me to introduce to you your president.
Who want to become president? You still want to become president? But he doesn't want to become president. President, you see, want to become president. Mr. Kennedy want to become president. Mr. Lalame want to become president. President, you will see you. Mr. Lulu want to become president. Now, how the president business will be? We should bring for some more. Mr. Lala want to become president. President, you see, want to become president. Mr. Become president. Young people were not agree. Let me tell you something. When they want to become president with Lala, they will come and say, as the president of the Republic of Liberia, I can't give people for introducing me.
That won't allow.
Power invests in me. As the president of the Republic of Liberia, I want to make sure I will bring the rest press down. I want all the fear press down. I'm going to bring the gasoline price
down. That's why I enjoy myself, yo.
You know, he said, you want to tell me, say, President Wade, there's money, you just become president? First, take up, become president? And now he said, Liberia will show you. When they be president today, they will stand and say, I'm Mason. I will bring down Molovia and bear you new Molovia. I'm not going to see the government money. I'm going to make sure 07 get their back pay.
All right.
And the president want to make sure that the AFL are going to be paid in 2 weeks.
All right, Mr. John, let leave it right there. If I can get started with that one, our man Ali will just join the line. We can bring him in quickly. So, Mr. John, this is what I remember, right?
All right. Let me bring in my man Aliu Kamara to give this a start. Aliu, all right.
Aliu, first of all, we want to know, do you want to become president?
That one a lie.
Hell no.
That one a lie?
I want to complain.
Not true. Aliu.
All right, quickly, Aliu. Let's enjoy ourselves here.
Yeah, let me just say, I don't know how answering the one of the answer this thing about like going crazy, everybody going crazy. I don't know what I'm about to find about. I think about those time, like the late 80s. That's my last song.
No.
But let me say congratulations to you, Dennis. You wanted me, so let me give you that respect for today. Maybe tomorrow we can change it. But very, very, very interesting show. I mean, I like focus on Liberia for being such a diverse
entity. I want to call it that. I don't know whether you have obtained that status yet.
Thank you.
But let me just say thank you, first of all, before I even go further. Very, very, very enlightening shows. And let me say thank you to your studio guests in there as well. Look, Tubman was a dictator, and he was an organized dictator, and we all know that. Speaking about that very first music that was played, first of all, the guy who played that music, from the information that I have, which is complicated, he was not even a Liberian.
Yeah,
you know, he was an American that played that song, and you can tell the hypocrisy about the whole Tubman thing from the kid to all the way to neighboring county. First of all, this guy, the presence was not even actually felt in those areas. It was because of tribal chiefs and other kings and stuff that made them even pay attention to this place. But that concentration was most of it. You know, they just had a little small place where they could exploit women, money, and everything, and take the rest of the money to overseas and send the children overseas. So the whole song about Tubman and all that stuff was just a job. And when I come to talk, people think that Tubman was a hero. I listened to my uncle Emma saying that Tubman introduced multi-party democracy. Tubman did not introduce Jack. Tubman, the only difference between Tubman and Tubman was when Tubman became president, Liberian radicals and progressives had already had eye openers, had gone overseas to school. Some of them had acquired masters and PhDs, and some of them work in other diplomatic areas. So they were forced to reckon with at the time. They were not people who were willing to back down intellectually. So Tubman had it tough. And as a result, he had to yield. In fact, we know of so many arbitrary arrests and prison terms that was given to some of these indigenous Liberians in Tubman. So Tubman did not organize the multi-party or agree to accept multi-party democracy willingly. If he did, he wouldn't have stayed as president from 1971 to 1980 before he would allow anything. We saw the very top of who said, you know, I heard that Maradona song where he said, when you think about President Trump, the involvement, you know, Maradona was hustling. I'll be very honest with you. Because there was a man who went to the people in Cape and other places, told them that they needed to get involved in agriculture and blah, 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 blah. And then he was the same person who was importing rice through his family, his brother and him, importing rice to sell to the Liberian people. If this guy was serious, would he have imported rice to sell? No, he would have imported seed rice. And he would have created government farms. He would have done so many stuff. Tubman was a lot smarter because he had been vice president for nearly 19 years. As a result, he knew the loopholes. He knew how to play the political game, given that he at least had college education compared to Mr. Tubman. So the whole thing was some sort of shenanigan that
I said thank you. Just wrap it up. Because we're coming to the juicy part.
Okay, so for the benefit of time, we'll be back there all night. But for the benefit of time, the other people want to talk, I will leave it at that. But everything was a game. The same thing about the rest situation. We're going to tell off for a second, 1 minute. Just give me this 1 minute. So I told the Liberian people to a very fine political speech that until Liberians feed themselves, they would never be free. It was important in order for Liberians to grow and must be able to feed themselves. At the same time, Southerners were getting, I think at the time, 50 cents on each bag of rice that was imported into the country, and the importers were Lebanese. And they came and did the same thing, they added another 50 cents. So she got $1 for each bag of rice. So none of these guys got any kind of credit, not even the Joe regime. We have not had a leadership yet that is in the interest or have been in the interest of Liberian people. But especially so, the American Liberians exploit that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I escaped the war years. You know, the war years. So let me play something small just to tell you that music was going on too during the war years. Hold on.
My brother never came my way, got to go. Oh, mama. So I put you, come up with oh, your nephew, by your way, Bogoma, cake my mother, we are more pro. Bogoma, cake my mother, we are more pro. Wanna go, mama. Wanna go, papa. They wanna make it, I love my mama. They wanna make it, I love my papa. For me, yeah, me passion. Looking for my phone. I say, papa.
That was Old Man Jones Dopo saying war is not good. I just want us to mention that.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to Ellen. Oh, no, let's talk about Taylor, right?
Yeah.
And who want to become president? That one that lied.
Yeah.
Has that changed over the years?
Can I unpack something real quick before we get to the Bible want to become? I think I leave a lot of things here, and I think I just want to clarify for the audience. Those are Ali's opinion. Mm-hmm. Let's clarify. Those are not because there are a lot of things that Ali speak here that we cannot we can't verify, but we just want to make sure those are Ali's opinions. Going forward, Babu won't become president. It's a fact of today. It's the nature of our current status right now as we speak. Everybody in Liberia that can procure $100,000 some way in 6 month period want to become president. My own pa running for president, my school fee wasn't paid.
Wow.
1996. Right? And I told you, he told me? No. He said, well, happy if I become president, we'll pay the school fee. But right now, we need a lot of money for the campaign. You know what I mean? But I say that, I'm not jokingly saying that, but my pa ran for president. I'm trying to say my school fee was paid, but I'm jokingly saying that. The point I'm trying to make here is everybody, every Tom and Harry wants to be president of the Republic of Liberia. And the reason being is, and I think, and again, it's just my layman observation, is lack of trust in the next man ability to do the job, or trust in the next man ability to steal. Right? I guarantee that man going to steal, but I know I'm going to steal, but he shouldn't be the one to steal more than me. So the lack of trust in his ability to do the job, and his trust in the ability that man going to rob the country more than him. So therefore, everybody that can procure $100,000 some way, some form, will be running for.
And Desmond, what's about the system? Don't you think it's partly so about people not having trust in the system? The only people that benefited from the system are those that are close to the corridor of power. That is why everybody want to get there. That's the only way you benefit, isn't it?
It's the system, and the reason why you're 100% right. Mm-hmm. The system allows for stuff like this to happen, right? Yeah. Without the systemic faults in the pipeline, you won't have results that we have today. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make here is this, right? It goes back to education. The first thing people have to understand, George Global said it the other day, whether you like it or not, I think we all had a discussion. Whether you like it or not, somebody have to be president of Liberia. Yeah. Whether we like it, has to be president of the Republic of Liberia. Right? So if we start to think about it in the sense that we're going to have a ruler, whether we like it or not, let's select the best one, as opposed to let's make sure the other person don't win, because that's the mantra in Liberia. Let's align with this person and make sure the other person don't win, good or not. Right? Let's make sure this person don't win. Let's stop the best person from winning, because if the best person win, he'll do the best for the country. And by the way, let's clarify, nobody has Liberia at heart. No one person does. Yeah. The system, Liberia, the conglomerate of all of us have to have Liberia, have for Liberia to work. Because I say all the time, my one analogy I use for Liberia all the time, I bring it, I'm going to say it and I'll be quiet. You're a young man from the village, you're the youngest in your family, your dad had 10 kids before you. Fortunately for you, you're the only one that went to school. You get to LU, you graduate LU, your first job, you're making $400 in Liberia. Your older brother brings his children from the village to live with you. You can't tell him no. If you tell him no, you're a wicked child. So what you expect that man are making $500 to take care of his girlfriend, take care of his brother, children, and his pie in the village? Where are you expecting to get money from? The system put pressure on people to do things, nefarious things, good nature or not. In Liberia, I always say this: if you think you got morals and you're ethically strong, go to Liberia and spend there 2 years and work in government for 2 years and come back and see if either your morals will be tested and you leave, or you become morally corrupt. Because the system itself provide room for you to, it doesn't give you the leverage to say, you know what, I'm functioning. The first thing you tell somebody to do something, the first person tells you that America thing you bring it, don't bring it to us.
Everybody is in line to steal. So even you don't want to correct anything in the corrupt system, because when you get there tomorrow, you're going to benefit. Let me bring in Davis on the line. After Dave,
come back and see what.
Okay, Dave, you are live. What you got?
Hey, hello everybody.
How are you?
Dave, welcome.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dave.
I'm
Go
happy
ahead.
to be here. Okay, I'm enjoying the show. I'm enjoying the music. I hope most of these things are archived somewhere maybe at the National Archive Center, so that we can constantly refer to them, because this is our history. This is part of our literature. This is part of our history, and all of those collections just gave us some insight as to how our country has evolved or devolved, over the years. So I'm enjoying that. But one of those ones that I would really like to refer to also was the music about the soldier, about Doe. Yes, what? And then today, most of our scholars at the universities and all of that still refer to, somehow they call themselves militant. And so when the soldier song was being played, I began to think that though he was maybe referring to the actual soldiers, but to a broader sense, in a broader to a broader level, I think he was referring to the majority of the Liberian people that over the years that have been deprived, that did not have the opportunity to be respected even in their own country, and that didn't have food, that were neglected in the rural parts of the country. So that it brought tears to my eyes when I was listening to it, and as you play all of those songs, even up to the 21st century songs, still a reflection of these sad stories and sad history of our people. And the other song that I don't like, from the very onset, when they were playing it before, to the song that has to do with Bamboo wants to become president. And this other one wants to become president. Well, a lot of people with some knowledge or with some money or resources want to become president, but that's not all of the Liberian people. But I think we should begin to cultivate that mindset as to what's wrong if Bamboo wants to be president? What's wrong if Monkey wants to be president? I think that is the essence of democracy, for people to have confidence in their own ability and in their own desire to lead. And there was another song which maybe you guys have it in your repository, which someone was saying that everybody, you have your own area, you have this, you have that. I think that kind of mindset. And when you look at those kind of songs, the one coming to the Taylor era and then the one coming to the Ellen era, also about you have your place, you have to know where you belong. That kind is a reflection of the mindset of the generation or the kind of culture that those people came from. Has to assign people to where they belong and where they should keep themselves. I think those are two kind of sad songs that I don't enjoy them. Others may have their own opinion, but I think when people live in their own country, they should be able to espouse for whatever interests them, whatever they think their ability is. And the people will decide as to which direction to go. But I still want to thank you that you have a fine show all the time.
Thank you, Dave. And that's a different uncle. Dave is saying Bamboo wants to become president. So what? So let's go to Ellen. President Ellen came to power. So some people, they call it young democracy. Some people think that was the beginning of our democracy. So when Ellen got, I mean, there was so much excitement, and Ellen was the iron lady, and she was supposed to do what? Give her opponent pressure. Listen.
I am an LIB, right here. Yes, that means I gotta give my own to mother meal. Everybody come and join me to the Cuban land. Give them pressure. Make them say, make them surrender. Make them scream and say, Mama, we are tired. Oh, we cannot defeat you. Give them pressure. Make them surrender. Make them say, Mama, we are tired. Make them scream and say, we cannot defeat you. Give them pressure, 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 pressure,
Pressure. DJ, what's going on?
I think the beat drop. You know.
What you think?
We cannot defeat make them surrender. Mama, we are tired.
Mama was on top of the game, man. And at the end of the day, he says, on inauguration day, let them come and say, man gave us position. Guys, this was a good time for Mama Ellen, giving them pressure.
Mr. Giles, that was when Eddie entered the highest political throne in our land. The entire world was captivated. She silenced the opposition, her political opponents, with that victory. Though many people had opposed her also, but that was a perfect transition after the war. And even those who went against her were like, okay, let's give her a chance. Politically, everybody was silent. And so even those of us who didn't like the song, we said to ourselves, let the song play for the sake of Liberia. But if you look at the lyrics of the song, it carries so much power that even if you are not on Ellen's side, you're like, oh, let them play their song. You know, what we want to see is what will she be able to do for the people? Because at the end of the day, she had won, and people wanted to see what she will be able to do for the people. And you know, and it talk about Ellen gave them pressure, talking about the opposition. You know, the Omar giving them pressure, let them surrender. And many of them politically surrender. I saw what's his name? H. Berman Formula. He surrendered, he left the progressive and went on Ellen's side, and he was able to get a position. You're talking about the part of the son that let them cry and surrender, he gave them job. Berman Formula got a job. He was qualified for it. And many other people, the progressive, the T-Potet, all these people were silent. It was a good time for the country, either way you look at it. But the song was trying to say she was the person, she was the right person at the time, and she gave everybody pressure, and she needed to lead.
For me, that song, that song is twofold. I listened to that song twofold on twofold, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of Liberians celebrated the song, whether they voted for Ellen or not, because stability, the sense of stability that Ellen brought to the presidency, to the country as a whole, right? We're from war. Yeah, you won the election, you win the election. At some point in time, we let you have it. But that song, like Anthony just mentioned, that song plays a key part in our political dispensation. The fact about how resources are divided and what people have to do to get those resources, right? Like you said, by my son family capitulated and went to Ellen. He wasn't alone, but the plethora in Mosoya, even the current president, all got jobs, right? Ellen gave all of them jobs and capitulated to what she needed to do. And by doing that, and it goes back to there's a back and forth letter between Albert Pote and the former speaker, Albert Pote from Representative Port versus and Tubman, going back and forth to have an opposing view, or not even an opposing view, but dissenting view. Because opposing view sometimes means like I really don't like what you're saying, but dissenting views, let's look at it this way. In our body politics, put you on a line to be ostracized. And the way I look at things is being a contrarian or being negative in thoughts only open a form for discussion with, because everybody telling you, Anthony, anything you're doing is right. If all your friends say everything you're doing right, where will you ever come from to hear things that you're doing wrong? So whether the criticism is constructive or not, I believe that division of job, how people capitulate to leadership just because of work, right? The personal gains is another form of our problems today. It's another form of our problem. Stick on your body politics, and leadership need to understand that too. It's making work for me, do his job fully, and still support other people too. But Ellen format was simple. We'll give you work, you can't work it, and you'll be quiet.
Yeah. All right.
You know, so and was it right for our politics? I disagree. No.
Continue. Let me hear from Doma. Maybe before we go to, because as we continue with Ellen, Mr. Doma, you have any more contribution?
Yes, I just want to say something about, the song that was sung about native woman born soya, that song was sung by Robert O. And the brother was saying, the song was sung in 1980, and Soya people, a lot of them were not ministers at the time. They were the progressive were ministers. No, soldiers were ministers. Soldiers were ministers, soldiers were deputy ministers, soldiers were assistant ministers. Before the coup, we used to refer to the soldiers as no-cos. No-co means for nothing. And most of the soldiers, they were just bodyguards and watchmen for most of the government officials. And some of them were making $95 a month, $80 a month, $100 a month. But when Joe became president, when the coup took place, immediately they said every soldier, the least pay was $250. So Soya became minister. He was talking about was not only literally ministerial positions. He was talking about the coup had created a lot of opportunities for soldiers. Soldiers were, majority of them were members of the People's Redemption Council. Soldiers were now listening to. Those days, they didn't have clean, a lot of them didn't have clean clothes. Only officers had clean and neat, new military uniforms. But after the coup, almost all of them had new military uniforms. So these are the kind of things we're referring to. They were the decision makers at the time. For instance, the execution of 13 people was not made by progressive people. It was solely made by the soldiers. We were in Progressive Alliance of Liberia. I can remember Brother Weah, I think he was coming from Cape Man, the Minister of Internal Affairs at the time. When he heard about that execution, he stopped the car, wrote his letter of resignation. When he got to town, Brother Matthew told him, you can't do that. These guys, they can execute you the same way. So you can't resign. This is where we are. So they were in power, they were in control. So Soya became minister. He's talking about was not literally that Soya became minister, even though some of them were ministers, but he was talking about, soldiers got authority, soldiers got power, soldiers got clean uniform, soldiers, were in charge of everything in that country.
Thank you.
What it meant. Thank you.
Well taken. Now, so Ellen, at the mid part of it, people started feeling a little different. You know, it was like, maybe this is not the thing we're expecting. So, and we heard that in a song. My partner balling.
Okay, go. I'm bringing it.
This is another hip hop class. Oh na na na. Nemesis Records. Oh na. Remix. Explain. Come to me. Dr. Johnson. Let the bucket. I got splash on the wall. Aye. So from the lead, talk to me. Everybody fight balling. My heart and ball. To end dollars, you gotta fight. Oh, come on. Not a war, so I'm a cannibal. Can't
Spoon.
party, fucking ball. You got to fight it all. You roll to the boat. My soul. Everybody pot body, my fucking ball. The only time I fucking ball when it God get it done. The struggle keep killing me, I ain't even got jaw. I got to hustle hard to buy my baby rubber jaw. The economic system by forge and I jail her rat. Poverty was growing high, so I gotta speak the fact. You think I'm talking crap? No, I'm talking rap. That's a survive, that's why my nigga doing old school. Some people say we fool, some people say we go to school. Some people still asking what they doing for the youth. The government breaking, so the youth is still jacking. No entertainment, so we're making no money. I'm telling it to y'all, I ain't having no jaw. That's what I stand for. My body can't ball. School fee coming for school. Cause my heart not falling. Russia in the city, got me kicking some dust. Cause my heart not falling. Surely say she be leaving me tonight. Cause my heart not falling. Let say I should live tomorrow. Cause my heart not falling. See now what I go do? What play I go go? Which kind of hustle I go hustle now? See now what I go do? Say what I go do? Which kind of hustle I go hustle now?
Everybody pop balling, but my pocket ball. Now everybody cutting shop, but why I can't call? See who call hold, that the whole hustle. Send me you owe me one bottle. Now everybody for the set, only call for all. I open call for y'all, they want to buy and Congo all in the whole music game. Let me tell you what they think. See, they think the common people still don't know how to think they will land. Because they all are common man, get common sense. I'm a common sense. Maybe to be intelligent, I understand all that BB10. All you relevant, I get no content. And I want you as a president, too much BB talk. And be soft to negligent, and neglected the good country, no development. So, the medals and the money to echo band, bidding all the country dance, putting our resources, but they importing back. We can never see no profit, now we need a
All right. Mr. Jad, let me say this. But this is the music that led the way to people voicing out disappointment in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the CDC Monkey Countdown. I just sent it to you. Maybe you can play it. So it became prominent because it started from the CDC hitting Ellen up with protests and Monkey Countdown. That song.
The way I lined it up was that Monkey Countdown was coming second, right?
Okay, that's good.
People start thinking that, okay, wait now, there are some disparity here. Other people part balling, but our part not balling. So we see that there's a dichotomy,
right?
Rich and poor. So there was that line.
Okay, that works too.
With that line being drawn, the people or CDC sees onto it and say, "Okay, got to come down."
Who Yankee? I don't really stick a long time. Lyrical, mash up the place.
Monkey, you not able to take care of Babu Nebu. You not able to bust the rata Babu Nebu. So the monkey come down. Monkey come down. Monkey come down. Monkey come down. Monkey come down to you. Monkey come down to you. Monkey. So the monkey come down to you. Monkey come down to you. Monkey
right. All right, all right, all right. Leave it right there. Leave it right there. They got the gist of it.
There lay so many animals and so many trees. During those days, there were no restrictions. Anytime, any day. Anyone used to corrupt and go outside free in the jungle. Yeah. After they realized that everything was good, I said everyone will only have to be food. Majority of the people will be a baboon, and few people when we are okay. The elders of the time made a big mistake. After election, they went and made a selection. So the citizen of the jungle was unsatisfied. So they decided using a lot of caretaker. Who loves, who cares?
All right. Let's leave it there. Time is fast spent. So, like you were saying, Mr. Jai, so few people power balling. You know, the only way your power ball is when they cock the door, and that's when some people park a ball, and Papa go hustle. He can't even bring spoon, and everybody start feeling no. They Ellen giving people pressure. Many government officials were making fabulous salaries, and it was known to everybody, and everybody are not feeling the economic impact of the Ellen presidency. And so Takunje, I believe, came up with that song, you know, Vampire Balling Everybody Came Up. And then the CDC song that we just played also was in the mix, saying that, well, the whole thing here, we see corruption, we smell corruption, let monkey calm down. You know, because you can't boss it. That bamboo can bust it, so the monkey can kind of. The monkey is so greedy, it will chop all the banana, you know. So that was when people were starting to say, okay, wait a minute. So the man Ellen Sonia giving people pressure, she's giving pressure for herself and for maybe people who are in government, most of us the ordinary people, and that's when the sun now start penetrating the Ellen administration, and gradually Ellen start getting a little more unpopular.
And by then, so when she became unpopular, then came back Takonje who said they lied to us.
May be aspiring to positions of leadership.
You see, they lied to us.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Because this lady very powerful, now parking ball, they are asking Monkey to calm down. They said, well, this man, this Omar, they lied to us.
If you want to get
Can you imagine? Desmond?
Yeah.
Join African politics.
All right, let's do it. They lied to us.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Working for your stomach, stop slipping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. Y'all gotta wake up small, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people who us, the people that's us, the government trigger.
Also Liberia. We're doing political songs and their implication politically. Tubman-Weah.
We tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to allow us damages.
This was not even different from when they say every day, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You see the transition. Ellen gave them pressure. Our partner ball, Monkey calm down. You lied to us.
So, but what I get from that song is like the funny thing about this is, and I like to stay consistent on the situation. Can you play that same song today to relate to the current situation?
Which song?
That same song, the people lied to us, right? That same song, I can guarantee you can line up 10. I'm not taking anybody from a different party. You can line up 10. You can line up 10 CDs that will sing that song. It'll be relative of current today's situation, right? And the reason being is it goes back to one thing I will continuously say this. It goes to our level of understanding and education. And the system itself is corrupt. Because the system is corrupt, no level of leadership, not no, but I hate to say no because it lends, then we're not supposed to be here talking.
Right.
It takes, it's going to take a high level of understanding for us as the people to make some solid decisions that will change that format. Because the song that you play for Ellen, right? we'll get a George Weah. I know it's coming next.
Yeah.
But the trend under this Ellen government, the trend under this Ellen government, the trend under Ellen government with the music is the same trend we have today. The same trend we have today. People get excited for leadership. Leadership getting power. From power, the next 2 days you realize the situation haven't changed. If you wasn't eating, if you wasn't getting a couple, if you're getting a couple of rest before when Ellen was in power, I can guarantee you, you're buying rice by cup, masses now. If you do the statistical number on the masses, the bulk of the people that are buying rice by cup are still buying rice by cup in Liberia today. Nothing has changed for them. So the songs, when you hear it, it's easy to play that. Like it makes sense. It's easier for the artists to make these songs because the fact of the matter here is the people's life that will change is minuscule in the life it's minuscule compared to the people's life that you need to change for this kind of songs not to be played. If I'm making any sense.
That's profound.
That is profound. And Mr. Jada, his second time making this analogy that capture the economic strangulation of the ordinary masses. I remember I left Liberia 2008. 2018, when I went back, the house that I was living in, all of us who were renting one room in that house were buying rice by cup every day to eat. When I got back 2013, it was still the same. Those very people were still buying rice by cup and not by bag. And if you look at the way things are on Ellen, and you look at the economic situation right now on Weah, I am tempted to even say that if you were buying maybe 4 cups of rice for your family to eat, you can only afford 2 right now.
Amen.
And that same rice bag that was hanging to that outside bathroom is still hanging there. They can change it.
Talk more about that. Talk more about that.
So now, with that economic conditions that our market come down, they lie to us. So as many of our political pundits saw it, they say, well, the economic, whatever was in the country was not felt, did not trickle down. So merely the young people felt left out. So they needed a savior. And to have that savior was nobody else but the country giant.
Amanda, Amanda, Maipuye, Liberia, Marie, Chovia.
Drink.
Aha, y'all want to go to put the giant right to take over. Y'all want to Robbie, Papa coming again. Y'all want to Papa Georgie coming again. Y'all want to Mama Joe coming again. Rosie, DJ coming again. Now the whole country giant coming so better move, say you're better move, it's about to get away. We coming again. Who wanna roll cities? He coming again. Young who wanna roll job? We are coming again. Who wanna roll Mama Joe? We're coming again. Be the roll cities, she coming again. Now the whole country giant coming so. Better move on, say you're better move, take it away, better get away. We coming again. We for the win. We coming again. Coalition for democratic change. Now the whole country champion they coming so. You better move on road. I say you better move your road. You keep raising get away. Better get away. Yeah, say I'm on go, I say I'm at the black, also go corridor. Yeah, say I'm on go, I say
All right. DJ, leave it there. The statement at Debler, those of you who don't know, is cruel, meaning you wake up. Let us go. So the seditions and those who supported now President Weah, they felt that they were on the ground. And they needed that victory, and the only way they could have gotten that victory was to debla, to wake up. And so they woke up, and like you said earlier, they needed a savior. That savior we know today now is Georgia. Whether or not he's saving them is another protocol discussion for another day. And so Weah has the victory. Everybody left the road. They even told the UP people to leave the road. Everybody left the road. The country giant was coming. Tubman-Weah was coming. But when Tubman-Weah got in town, she told us, it's our time. You have to join all you out. So maybe some people are out. But the point here is that this was a song that captivated the minds of many young people. They saw Weah as somebody like themselves. He was their kind. He was from the slum. They could all relate to him. They felt that the educated class have had the opportunity to lead the country, and they could not bring that bread with mayonnaise in it to their doorsteps. And Manon could do it, they claim. And so they got behind Manon and supported him massively. Today we have Manon. So my question is,
if you were around the Yekepa Bikana area during that time, when those people get on the train to go and you hear that some Asha Lele.
Yeah.
So when they put this in the song, it also captivated that part because that was the brightest part in what they used to call Greater Liberia. So when they put that in, so this was a song that captivated the people. Tubman-Weah and you could see the two. Tubman-Weah looking so beautiful and everything. You could see the political class around them. Desmond, make your point so we can go to.
So fortunately for me, I was in Liberia at the time.
Okay.
And I was not in Monrovia. I was actually in Cocoa District, one county. So I was way in the village. And these songs are songs that I played for the people. One stat I want to throw out with this song, if you listen to the song, the stat I want to throw out right now, that's gonna be for the audience to ponder a little bit. Right? Somebody, I think, was on one of these shows, and maybe I stand corrected on the numbers, but it was saying that Liberians under age 50 years old, right, are about male and female are about 65% of the population, right? So if these young people, including myself, can make these decisions to affect the future in the way that it is, the trajectory stands to remains the same. The song is saying move on the road. The song is not inclusive. The song itself is divisive. It's not talking about building the country. It's talking about elevating a person. And these young people, 65% of the population, thought it was the best thing to do at the point in time. Right? My thinking on that is this. If these same people if 65% of our population is under 50 years old, the next 3 to 4 elections are going to be the same. Unless something drastic happens.
Why? Is it because you feel that this is their decision? Are they owning this decision? And they are prepared that this is our decision. They have had 100 years plus, and we have not even gone 6 years, so we have to own this?
No, the point I'm trying to make here, the same people that voted in those elections right now, the same people complaining today, whether to vote against the same president right now. Okay. Right? The reason being is the level of understanding, the thought process, and what needs are, what their needs are. I honestly believe we need to close Liberia borders for the next 6 years, 8 to 10 years. Let everybody in our country understand what suffering is. I don't say suffer the people for them not to eat, but do what China did. Close the country, institute something drastic for 8 to 10 years. You will change the mindset. Because at this point in time, the same people that voted for Georgia, the people complaining today. You think who can get in the street? The people that are rioting, they haven't changed. It's the same exact guy that rioted into that was voting for Weah 2017, that the same guy Costa put in the street today. It will be the same person who will be in the street against the next president tomorrow.
Let me get an input from Amos George. She's been hanging out. Before we go into where the table start turning a little bit. Mr. George. Let me bring you in for a few comments.
Yeah. Let me just say something. Let me go back a little bit. The panel. Look, that song, that little more song. Look at it. That song was only catered to the guys in the army. How much the population of Liberia benefited when the PRC came to power? The progressive. People who call themselves progressive. It was all about jobs. Yes.
Okay.
Michael Matthew, Tubman-Weah people there, Famule, Deacon Carter, Johnson, all these guys, people, Chair Chipo. These were the guys who were championing the cause of the progressive. What they came when 1980 came, they all went into government. And let me tell you one good excuse they got. Every time you try to hold them for something, they say, "Oh no, the PRC, the PRC were making the decisions." That is, when they bad, they disown it. When they're good, then they claim it. You are minister. Checking government official executed. They say, "Oh no, we have nothing to do with it."
Right. I believe.
But they were the one who were writing all the speeches. They were the one who were writing all the speeches of when the coup took place. They were the one who were writing all the speeches. Then they said, "Oh, we had nothing to do with anything negative." But the coup, then they said, "Oh yes, oh we didn't have saying in it. We're just ministers."
Okay.
But how many of them came up to condemn that government?
So guys, then we'll kill.
They remain silent. They're up to now today.
All right.
So you can see the Liberian politics all go that direction. When Ellen came, all the people who were still opposition, the land of the God job. Today, now they come out and say, "Oh no, I was just minister." So that is a trend you see in Liberian politics. By the time the government go in this side, they all in. Look how we are government. When he came, well, all the junior ministers during every time, they all went to Weah to usher in because they want to maintain their position. So this thing is a trend. How we're going to break it? That is the question now we're trying to ask everybody. How can we stop this kind of way of living? Because they do it at the expense of the native people.
At the end of the show, we'll see what we can find. But let's say, thank you, Mr. Judge. So Weah was inaugurated. You know, there was this euphoria of a young man, a slum dweller, who a lot of people felt, you know, they were the same, came to power, and that was hallelujah time. But it did not take long. We started hearing some small clean talk about money. And MC Caro.
Be like Plato. They can not do anything. The voice of the people, yo. My Ali, Weah, bring our money back. My Ali, Weah, we want our money back. My Ali, Weah, bring our money back. My Ali, Weah, we want our money back. That's also years ago, stealing for hungry people. All our name contract to who we carry complete. Continue one for free, but we all are political. That kind of story my people will listen to. Today not worry the school, you're bring the 60 billion. Some people fall in the street, bring the 60 billion. Paper people in the read, bring the 60 billion. Musicians cannot benefit, bring the 60 billion. We want a 60 billion, so big on the road. We want a 60 billion for people in Logato. We want a 60 billion, see heroes for killing people. That's why it's not a joke. I'm fucking Jericho. My Ali, Weah, bring our money back. My Ali, Weah, we want our money back. My Ali, Weah, bring our money back. My Ali.
That was about 16 billion. I mean, you could see people somewhere, you know, when they see container passing, people will take their picture and put it on Facebook and say, "Oh, there's the container." And that was the talk of the town. The control giant moved on the road. Now the road was clear. We have people coming and say, "Bring our money back." And then other people say, I mean, we are not even, we are smart people, you know, because has these people come and say, "Bring our money back"? There was a counter, right? They say, "Oh no, man, you know what we are doing? We are digging hole to cover hole and all that." So another guy came up and said, "Wait now, these people think we belay?"
we're telling them we not bele. The people Jabi, we bele. We're telling them we not bele. Representative, senator, minister, president, very suffering cause today. Liberia, some people don't can see Liberia. Liberia suffering, Liberia. We see it, we don't do it, nothing. Liberia suffering, Liberia. We see it, we don't do it.
All right.
The people think we better, but we're not better. They are suffering us. Representatives, senator, all you guys are suffering us. All of them, Mr. CA, that was not all. So because they said they were suffering, and understandably so, we have protests and protest, right? A massive protest. And in the midst of that massive protest, they say, we will talk it.
Want to get ya, very ya. Everywhere you go, they say la popo. Anything you cash, they say la popo. More people dying, more people suffering. No hospital, Liberia get it, government not get time. They not get time, government not get time. They not get time. I want to see billion. I want to become million. I want to go for country China, for country China, for country road. Government and let water, government and fool us, government and let water, government and betray us, government and fool us. Country, everybody company, Kepen Rider company, Sushamba company, Makeubi company, schooling company, all people company, AC people company, Taxi driver company, Kepen Rider company. They see people that vote for you. They see people suffering. They see people that vote for you. They see people crying. They see people that vote for you. They see people suffering. They see people that vote for you. They see people crying. Every day I'm angry. Every day I wait. Every day I'm angry. Every day I wait. Doctors in us. In the city. Why people suffering? Why people dying? Government not get time. They not get time. Government not get time. They not get time. We will talk it. We will just talk it. We will talk it.
So guys, so people started talking.
So, Mr. Giles, let me go first before that's my. So it started with 16 billion. You heard Carol thinking that bring back our money, our 16 billion. Is the 16 billion supposed to use to build the roads to do that? This time, the name country giant was dropped. And the regular name Georgia was mentioned in that song. That was a demonstration of somebody who was fella. No, that guy is not country giant anymore. I'm not leaving the road because they told us to leave the road. When we left the road, the container passed, we didn't see the container.
Right.
So we want that money back. There was a protest that was led by Martin Colley. And so Carol is thinking, we want that money back. That money is supposed to be used for road because you told us we need our roads. And then the other guy came in with the other abuse and said, well, can these people just take this $16 billion like that in broad day? Whether or not the entire $16 billion was missing, there are reports that said no, but some money went missing, all right, because the central bank governor said the money was accounted for. They have all the money in the vault, but the report from Croy and other people did not say that. There was some discrepancy. And so this guy came in, we're not Bel. Some people think we're Bel, but we would let them know that we are not Bel. How can this money go missing and you don't want us to talk it? And that's how the song kicked in. We were talking. Yake Koluba were talking. Heron Pedro Costa were talking. And the big June 7 protest, a protest that I took part in, by the way, and I made my debut here. I focused on Liberia as a guest, and now I'm a host here at this network. And so that was President Weah being challenged by people who were not feeling the political love from him anymore, looking at the trends of events. And here we are today. The people are saying, we're not Berlin.
So Anthony, right? When I listen to the MC Caro song, it's one of the best songs I heard so far. Okay. Because MC Caro did two things in that song. She connected. She didn't align. It wasn't a diss against a political party. Right. It was about a particular issue that was labeled on two different leaders. Right. Yeah, Ma Ellen, George Weah, wherever you're due, you'll bring our money back. Because we know the money was signed for honor you, and we know George Weah receive it. Right. That's the fact of the matter. You can't change the fact. So MC Caro wasn't being political from the saying like, oh, one party, another party. It was for a particular issue. This particular money that you stole, you'll make sure that we get our money back. Right? And I correlate with the other guy, the Bele song. The guy is saying, you think we Bele? One thing I can guarantee Liberian people are not Bele. But what Liberian people are is we have a price. And that price not more than a $25 bag of rice. That's our price. If we can sustain our rice, we can let our belly. Because the most analytical people I've ever met in my own life, maybe because I'm Liberian, I meet a lot of Liberian. The most analytical people on issues that are aware of everything, anything Liberian people are. Even the ones that don't know about it know it. And they got full command of control on every incident. So we're not belly. In that sense, we're not belly. But when it comes to taking action, we're the least belly. Because the purchase price for oil is not that high, so we're easily bought, and therefore we're not risking a lot to be in the street. So therefore, June 7, and these things can be cut down to a less significant nature, right? I look at it this way, and I know we'll get to a point where people ask for opinions, but I don't want to delve too long, but I'll say this. This president in his administration is the number one source of their problems. Even if they wanted to steal billions and billions of dollars, they're the number one source of the problem. And that source is they're lagging beyond the elbow. Because like people know how to complain, not how to certify. Right. If you steal 10 million, check it in two. Don't steal now. Don't say you paying WPF $9 million for rest. Then you want to get to the whole 9 mil. Make sure the other people ain't getting 100,000 here, 200,000 there. Because I'm not saying it's right. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Job? They're the source of their own problem because the way they do things. And I don't want to go into the rest issue because I watched Anthony and Ava discuss it at length, and it's sad.
It is sad. It is sad.
There's a writer who say he stole more for the owner to notice.
Exactly. Hey, God, thank you.
And you talk about Liberians Nang Bele, and I don't like people referring to Liberians to say, sometimes I say people are gullible. I hate that. Liberians are the most advanced when it comes to politics. When I saw elections in this country, I give Liberians credit. They are politically aware of what's going on. And don't think because they have gone through war and sometimes they appear timid that you think you can take them for the issue of being leadership. Correct. If the people, the way the people are very engaged, if they have the kind of leadership, they'll do very well. I mean, if man like Costa can put them together, not taking anything away from him, but within a short period of time, he was able to get up a lot of people to get behind to go and protest. If a sound leadership can keep those people together, for something positive, I mean, the sky's the limit. But let's turn it a little bit, because has these people talking about, we will talk it, Prophet Key will talk it, or Dylan will talk it, everybody start talking it. Don't think the government folks are sitting down. From what I see, is almost something like a blame game going on. Something is going on there that, hey, why is all this pressure on us to do this, to do that? Maybe somebody is responsible. And so that was the song put on the red cow.
It's your bonaro, that a red cow. That on my red cow, that is still red cow. What on
money blackout. Yeah, before. Yo, yeah.
I enjoy this show, man.
Now on money wreck out.
That is sons of Nigeria.
One on money blackout.
Time for President George
It's time for us to pull him together.
and the political implication. We can't find anywhere and focus on Liberia.
Let's stop the hate. Pushing fake messages. Let us stop the money. Yeah. Well, I Liberia, overseas. You paint the up of your black. You feel right. Some in the eye. You are welcome. No need no pain. On the money blackout. Just stop it. All the hate messages you preaching, you're not doing it to the blackout. You're doing it to the people, the pro people. The people you claim to love, the people you want to rule. That it work out, that on money wreck out, that it still work out. One on money blackout, you hear it before. Yo, yeah.
Is there something like not taking responsibility of what's going on? You say, I'm not the cause. It's the white cow who's trying to do this to me.
I'll go first on this one.
Okay, go for it.
And I like trends. I like trends, and I like to draw lines to show connection. This is the CDC strategic plan for re-election. The only reason why we're not working because the people that spoiling on the outside there. It's a strategic plan. I listen to all their shows. Like I don't want to say all their shows because the shows are divided, right? Some of us keep a neutral ground. Everybody come here. Anybody can talk whether they believe or not. You guys try to include people from all walks of life. Now, there's a kid on Facebook called Heron Collins. Y'all go watch Heron Collins' show if you like to draw a trend. Heron Collins' shows is solely based. His show is solely based on the fact that don't talk about George Weah. It's not about George Weah, it's about you. You don't feel Liberia. Me, when I talk about you now, you talk about you as an individual. Yeah. Because you're not in Liberia building houses or taking. So he basically the CDC plan is to take the responsibility of government and put it on the individual Liberian person and say, if this country don't succeed, it's because of you. So the government holds no responsibility. The liability of the government has not been transferred in their eyes. So if we don't succeed, that because you spoil our need. If international part, we don't have foreign direct investment, it's not because we didn't create a conducive environment for investment. It's because you Liberian people got on Facebook and were talking on Facebook against us. That's why I know the investor came here. Okay. Go ahead and let us continue stealing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. George, go for it.
Yes. And you can see that song. President, he just re-echoed that message when he said that if the country don't develop, blame the opposition. See the trend. He said it the other day. If the country don't develop, blame the opposition. That is why.
Mr. George,
looking ahead at the presidential campaign. Yeah.
Mr. George, let me just call you to a point right there, right? The point he brought it up clearly. People shouldn't look at an isolated incident. It's a serious political strategy that CDC has resulted to. We're not developing the country. We're not building. We're not doing anything. We'll steal the money. And if anybody blame us, we'll say that because Liberian people got on Facebook and said things bad about the country. That's their plan.
Yeah, that's why he said. But then he said something about that the country devil, the devil coming.
The country giant.
That's fun. The country giant coming. Now, let me put it on my home area. In Bond County, if the people tell you the country devil is coming, everybody got to, woman got to give way. Now, the dangerous part of the devil coming is the men that follow the devil, they don't want to do the damage. So, when President Weah said this thing, when the people trying to they should not get in the way, as that song was saying, what happened? When there's demonstration, what happened? They sent in the police force. You see how the police take on people? President Weah is the devil. The police force are the men that travel with the devil to guide the devil.
Mr. Josh.
That is what that song is relating.
Giant, not devil.
Yes.
Control giant. But
Giant, the control giant.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it this way. Even if the control giant is coming, the control giant travel with a man. That one man doesn't make the giant. It's the follower of the men that make that giant. So when these things happen, it's not by mistake. But people don't follow to see how divisive these songs are. It just the lyrics sound very nice and people just dance. But when you look at it deeper, to start to compare the trend of things in Liberia, you get to know, oh, this is this country giant here, or this giant they're talking about. The men that behind the giant, the giant, this is what makes it very dangerous. Because when people get into the street, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just do it. So let me just do it that way. Okay.
Thank you. Let me bring in George Lobo. George Lobo, we talk about Tubman, we talk about Turbo, we talk about Ellen. You didn't call. So we said, George, where you call and go on.
The reason why I didn't call, first of all, I want to say good evening to all of you guys out there. It was very simple. I wanted to listen when you were talking about everybody or the different governments. Why it is true, I don't go way back as far as Tubman. For Tubman, I've been very, very clear. Majority of the problem we are in today was the trickle-down effect of some of Tubman's action and his leadership. Most of the young people today that are 25, their parents during the days of Tubman must have been 30, 25, and approaching 40 in their early 20s. So had Tubman decentralized education and made educating the people his priority, we would not have had this result because they too would have educated their children. However, fast forward, Turbo inherited a problem, like a boiling pot of water. In as much as he was trying, it was just one of those situations. It was just difficult. And things turned around on him. It depends on which side of the aisle you want to judge Turbo from, but it is clear that Turbo had a clear, direct agenda for transforming the country. The history is there. One of the problems I've always had, and I think I hold that position, that Tubman was 27 years was complete waste of time. And for those Liberians that want to prove some of us wrong, I want you people to do yourself a favor and go read when Botswana got independence. At the time, Tubman was signing major concession agreements. Botswana was not heavily invested into their diamond sector, while Liberia was that bright, beautiful place with all the resources and everybody was coming. The old man was making fun. So there's making fun in the end. There's making fun in the CDC too. Let me tell you today, the CDC is different. And the reason why it's going to give many people a hard time is because the CDC have combined 3 different playbooks that they're using effectively. The CDC got a little bit of the Tubman in them, which is that dictatorial, organized dictatorship strategy in them. That Georgia is the goal. Like when Tubman used to speak and tell the people that rule number 1 is obey, obey, and obey. So everybody was forced to worship Tubman. It is the same way every minister, when they hold a press conference for 10 minutes, they take 3 minutes to thank George. We want to thank President. We are His Excellency, Dr. Palaka. So they got that there. Another thing that people brought very, very smartly from them was the PRC style of using force when they believe they need to use force to send a message across. Then when they want to be nice and take the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf side, where they believe that they want to prove some sort of diplomacy, you will see them to talk about the opposition. They will invite you to join, like, for example, the COVID rest distribution, even though you will have no major role, you're just there for the optics. Okay? It's like they say, Firestone don't fire you, but it is the job that Firestone will give you maybe to resign. That is the strategy. So they bring you on, you can do nothing, and you resign. Then they come back and say, you see it, we brought the opposition on board, they are not willing to work with us. But I'll say this to you, Dennis Jack. The people that are going to continue to suffer with all that is going on, like Desmond said, I tend to agree with him when he talked about 65% of the voting population under the age of 50. They all need to understand one thing. because if every time you go to the polling station and you cast your vote, and it means you have certain right. That is a right you are passing on to somebody to perform a duty for you. You are asking somebody. Like, for example, when we elect a lawmaker, for the 6 years that representative is elected, it's because all of us can go to Capitol building. So it is true in Article 1, it says the power is inherent in the people. When we elect that lawmaker, we pass on that power to the lawmaker to go represent us. Now, what the people have not done well, regardless of how many excuses we make, we ourselves have to understand, Dennis, think about it now. If you have voted in 3 different elections and your life have not changed, what should I be telling you? And these guys are very smart. This is why you will never hear the legislature debating educational reform. You will not see a policy proposal on the Senate floor or on the lower house floor to say we require government to invest 20% of our national budget on capital spending or on youth rehabilitation, because they understand it is the strategy. The same way Tubman-Weah invest in educating the people, they themselves who came. It's a strategy. The more you keep the people down, the less they can think for themselves. So what you do, you make them to feel relevant when you need their services during the time of election. This is when you see lawmakers actively speaking to people, hanging out with them. When you get them elected, how often do you see them? How often do you see them? So for me, all these songs, I just think it's just people expressing how they feel, given the fact that every single society, every single government that have come, there have been issues that have happened. Let me say this today. Every government would not be 100% perfect. There will always be challenges. There will always be areas for improvement. The problem we have in our country, it is hard to see a government succeed one government and the government say, okay, you know what? The previous government did these things right. What we will do is we'll continue to advance on the things they didn't do right. Let's
Mr.
take
Lobo.
those other bad things and change it.
Mr. Lobo.
Go for it. I'll take your question. What is it?
Mr. Lobo, from what we played so far, from Tubman time to now, do you think what is happening today is anything new?
No.
Thank you.
I will be unfair to say that because
we missed one song, and somebody just pointed this to me, and I don't know how you guys will look at this song, but this song is at the height. At the height.
What happened to the photo? What happened? Are you ready to tell all the photo? I can see myself in the photo.
I want to say thanks to my cousin Oliver Koke. He just sent me that song. Said, don't forget about the photo. Any of you guys in the photo? I mean, has there been any presidency or any government that you see all the people in the photo? People always complain, right?
Yeah. So, Mr. Ja, let me go first on this one. This is not new. The photo thing before coming to the workout, I have some thoughts to share on the workout. So the photo thing, CDC guy elected. Many of those who supported the CDC and supported President Weah during campaign time, even before campaign time when the CDC started, they were taking pictures with George. You know, George Weah has been this celebrity, so everybody wanted to get a photo with him, and they will keep that photo. And many of them still have the photo today. So when President Weah got elected, appointments started rolling here and there. Some people they expected, or some people expected, or some of them who expected themselves to see themselves being appointed, they were not being seen in the government. So the photo meaning the government. And those who took pictures with President Weah before his presidency, who were close with him, who were friends with him, who were in the CDC. Many of them, some of them also were leaders. They expected to see themselves there. Many of us expected to see some of them. But surprisingly, they were not in the government. They were not in the photo. And while surprisingly, we noticed too, some of the leaders, some of their supporters were posting these pictures on Facebook, how they stood with President Weah, and President Weah was yet to appoint them. I know a friend called Musa O'Connor. Musa Kone, his picture was posted many times. He ran a CDC campaign. He was with Weah here and there. And his pictures were being posted, and in no time, he was lucky. He got in a photo. And that thing helped other people to get in the photo today, meaning to get into the government. So fast forward on the workout. Very interesting one too. So white, we will all know the white is always associated with goods. That's the reason why the white man think he's better than black man today. And the white man has proven it over time historically. And black, people associated black with something bad. So they are claiming this song, this is a pro CDC song that's saying, hey, these guys who are educated, who say they have the experience, who are knowledgeable about government, they claim to be good. You see, they always undermining somebody who is like us. When the person comes to government, we have not seen this before. You have not seen this before. The songwriter is asking that question. When Doe came to power, the same group of people did the same thing. Doe were kicked out of power, and they came to power. It's the same thing they are doing again. This is the white cow representing the intelligentsia, the people who say they know it all, trying to blame, an ordinary man like we are. They claim, representing the black cow. This is what they're doing. And furthermore, they are saying that what they're doing here is they're trying to undermine the government. They're preaching hate messages. They're preaching hate. They're using fake messages and also fake news. These are the tactics they are using. This is CDC cleverly trying to say that, look, things may be bad, but you can't blame us. You have to blame the people like Desmond said earlier, who are on Facebook saying negative things about the government. These are the ones that are the problem. And George also, Mr. Edmond George reminded us, President, we have said it recently, that if Liberia is to be bad tomorrow, paraphrasing him, don't blame me, blame the opposition. These are the people that are protesting and saying all the negative things about me all the time. The white cow undermining the black cow.
And do you think that message is resonating?
It's resonating to people who support the government. It's resonating with people who still have hope that President Weah can turn the thing around. Those who support the president still believe in the president, who believe in the government. It's resonating with them. It comforts them. They find comfort.
What I'm saying is because I think they have done a good job to really pin the opposition bad.
They are trying harder. It's sticking in their base. This is like a red meat to their base. This is something to appease their base. You got to give your base something. If you don't give them anything, they will be left with nothing to hope for a better tomorrow. And so they are fighting. They are doing everything they can.
Since I'm from the opposition, let me speak to something the two of you people just spoke on. I think Desmond started that conversation earlier, and I think you just took it from somewhere and to follow on it. The notion that it's a campaign strategy for the CDC, for us in the opposition, we are not bothered about what strategy the CDC will employ or will use come 2023 or now and moving forward. What we are capable of doing is very simple. Let me say this one thing. To every Liberian, when the government says that it is because we who are in the opposition are the one responsible for the government poor performance or the government failure, that itself is an acknowledgement to the Liberian people that you elected a government that just didn't know what to do. That is it. Very simple. There's no argument on it because there will always be opposition. There have never been a government that has succeeded anywhere in the world without an opposition. So the notion that the opposition, because we do not need that to sing praises to George Weah, that was why we feel no. The Liberian people, while it's true we believe that many of them don't know, I think they are inclined enough to understand. You must not forget, Anthony. The Liberian people also know that 12 years ago, when the Unity Party was in power, they know what their lives was. They know that there was an opposition that was far more active than this opposition. They know of an opposition that was constantly in the streets, that was causing chaos, that were throwing caskets around, that will go and protest even when Ellen is receiving an award. When she was appointed AU chairman, Moluba Molu then slept to the embassy outside. So they have not forgotten.
That politics, John.
So that message. No, so I'm just saying something, and so we agree. That is why I'm trying to let you know that even though they say that, that is not an excuse for their poor performance. But I will say this to you: the opposition today, they have not been able to paint us black because you know why, Dennis? The opposition, when we report that you paid $9 million from $30 million that was used for stimulus, is it false or is it true? Don't we have the breakdown from your own government officials? When we report that people worked 21 months under the CDC government and didn't get paid, is it false or is it true? Didn't we see citizens in the street who worked through the Ministry of Defense on a program that didn't get paid? So I would just say that and say, let me wrap it like this. I want to say thanks to all of you, and thanks for the time. In as much as a lot of things that is happening in our country is not new, my only appeal to all of us as Liberians, especially the young people, is that we begin to think about where we want to see ourselves in the next 6, 9, or 12 years from today's date. Because the decision we make, whether October or December or 2023, will determine our fate for the next 6 years. If you're 25 years old now and you voted in 3 different elections and nothing has changed for you, maybe you need to change the way you make your decision when you go to the ballot box. And that is what I have to say. That's my warning to all Liberians. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Mr. George, 30 seconds, your last word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, look, what is the takeaway from all the conversation we're having? It's for Liberians to look at themselves in the mirror and say, look, 12 years gone, what I did it change my life? I'm into another 6 more years. What will happen? So if we have to change the country, then we have to take a critical look of the decision that we make. Put sentiment aside, put the travel thing aside, and try to cross-examine people who will come to you to say that they want to be your leader. That's the only way this country will move forward. Because they're singing praises. We have come a long way. It has not changed anything. From Tubman-Weah, Trouble, though it's the same old song we've been singing. It has not changed our life. So why can't we look to take a different path? So the only takeaway I can tell Liberians, follow this story, do some research, and look at yourself. The next election is coming. If you cannot change the result of that election that will benefit you, then I just forget it. We got a long way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Desmond, your closing statement. You are on mute. You are on mute.
Let's conclude this.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's a lot said there, and I'd just like to finish by saying this to you once again. Thank you, Mr. Jod. Thank you, Anthony, for thinking about me to bring you on here today. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But what I try to do is find it sharpening to sharpen myself every day, right? So I'll be sharper than the day I was before. The point I'm trying to make here today is simple. George Lobo thinks that Liberian people will go ahead and vote on you telling them, say, not beg or rest that you voted for. They're not voting on facts. The election is not going to be about facts.
Go ahead.
Election is not going to be about facts. The election is going to be about what rhetoric that you can promote to the people for them to understand. So the fact of the matter is, Joe, I just took $9 million for rice. You see anybody in the street? No. So the fact that the issue is how can you navigate that message to the people for them to understand it, right? And for them to make a valid decision that will affect themselves, which I believe they won't. I believe the masses still won't make that better decision come 2023, or will they make a better decision coming down the line? Again, last caller, Mr. George said something that was very poignant. What has this song brought to us? Nothing. The song replica from Tubman-Weah to now, we're still singing the same music. We're still singing the same music. We even at the point now that people telling you, say, you know what? Don't even come to me for nothing. If I don't deliver, it's not my fault. You know, that's where we are now. at least we had transition. We had transition in a negative. We transitioned from time to time. I told him, I could carry you. Come to me. I'm the only person that can make it better. This president today in 2020 is telling us that don't worry about me. Because if I don't do my job, it's not my fault. And we all knew growing up, the essence of work is self-dependent. You get up in the morning, you go do your work. I heard somebody, I wanted to mention this, right? Because somebody mentioned Talbot. I heard from somebody, a prominent family member in the Talbot family, that told me one thing. He said if the president at that time, it was Warner, Johnson, Paul, Peter, whatever his name was in 1980, if that president's name was anything other than Talbot, that president would have died that day. So the way he looked at it from a family standpoint, his uncle at the time wasn't the target. It was the system that created what his uncle represented. So at that day, on that April day, whether the president's name was Johnson, Roberts, whatever it was, on that April day, that president would have died. So that his solace he took from it, because you know what, the system that they created from then, from that original song you got started with, till 1980, it wasn't Talbot, wasn't a target. It was the systemic issue that was risen that created. You see George Floyd? You see the connection?
Right.
When you stay on people for so long, that only so long one man can take. Right? Only so long one man can take. And I say this to come to the point here that we keep continuously the mistake that we continuously make as young people. Me, the next election, I'll finish for young people. I'll not be young man again. You know, I'll be looking forward to retirement. The next election, I'll be looking down to retirement. I'll retire early. That's why I say it that way. 55 of my year, right? So I'm looking more forward to retirement at that age. The point I'm trying to make here is this. The young people will continue to make these mistakes because they're belly driven. And the reason why they're belly driven is based on the fact that the system created for them to be that way. After this election, I got 20 friends out in the Unity Party. After the election, 20 young men, none of them over 35, lawyers, accountants, professional young men, none of them over 35. They all went to CDC headquarters. They were just yesterday campaigning for Joseph Boyka. They all went to CDC headquarters. And you know what they said? The argument was, just imagine if the party, the vice chancellor bearer for the Liberty Party can support George Weah, what about me? I'm a young man on my left ahead of me. How can I argue with that man? If the vice chancellor bearer for Liberty Party can go and say, raise your Weah hand up, and a young man that's 25, 30-year-old, that's an accountant, that's a young lawyer, one is a business person, what do you expect that young man to do?
Be true to his principles. But anyway.
That's what you expect. But what you, in actuality, what you want, how you expect him to be true to true principles at that point? When the leaders themselves are capitulating on a daily basis. So the leaders of tomorrow are created by the leaders of today. What you get today for leadership and what you get will be represented tomorrow. So therefore, I don't think the problem is going to be solved anyway, anytime soon.
Thank you.
That's why I wasn't arguing for today. I didn't mean to be morbid or down, but that's just how I feel today.
Well, it's always good to come out in a more human way, and that's what you've done. And that's the essence of this show. When we come here to have the conversation, we have it with the sole purpose of finding our inner selves. Because our inner self, for the most part, tend to be our best self, especially when we are sober about it. And that's what you have done. The young people of Liberia, I'm no longer a young man anymore. I'm 44. I'm not a youth anymore. I'm a man now. I'm growing enough to lead a country. And so this is why I have made the conscious decision to put in hours and be here, saying I'm not in Liberia, to contribute about how can we make our country better. I don't have much to close with today, but I have a song for you after Mr. Jab.
You're going to sing the song?
No, I'll play it for them.
Oh, okay. Well, we want to thank all our viewers and you fine gentlemen for being part of the show. You know, this is one show that is out of the ordinary, but that's what we do here at Focus on Liberia. You see, I was very much, before, I think around 2004, I have some colleagues who came to me and said, Dennis, what do we do? Let's find somebody to support, right? And by the time I knew it, they have already supported Ellen. And at a time, I was so much opposed to those who took part in the Liberian Civil War and were very much apologetic. So I opposed Ellen for the next 10 years in the presidency. At some point, I felt that my voice was not getting anywhere that much, so I decided to change course. And what I decided to do was to spend more time doing what I'm doing now, educating people and having a platform that people can come and we kind of enlighten people and we discuss things. Because to me at that time, I put it that it was like teaching calculus to sixth graders. It's very difficult to talk to people like that. So you have to bring them to your level or bring them so that we can all be on the same page and then we can move ahead. What I see from whatever we have done tonight is things have not changed. The system still remain the same. I asked Mr. Sia the other day, why is it that people even go into election? Do you trust the system? Why is it that you want to take part in a corrupt system? Then when you get defeated using the corrupt means, before you cry foul. Well, if you have won that corrupt way, were you going to allow it? Yes, you were going to do it, right? So we don't tend to change the system, but we want to be part of it and benefit from the spoils of the system. So every time we want to change somebody at the top, by the time somebody gets to the top, we are in hurry to remove that person and replace that person. So in that hurry, we don't even want to know what's wrong and what we can do to make it better. We just want to change. And so we keep changing. We keep replacing that bulb, even though the place we are screwing that bulb is faulty, but we're not checking that. So all we do is to replace the bulb and it keeps blowing up. It keeps blowing up until there is no more bulb. So anytime we do a show, I want us to take a step back and think and see those systemic issues that can be addressed. If they are not addressed and we are changing leaders, we are only wasting our time. We'll always be looking for a messiah, but we should look in ourselves as one of our guests before said, you are the inner hero. There is hero inside you, so bring that hero out and do something to make this world, Liberia, a better place. On behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberia, we want to say thank you so much for being here with us, for participating, your comments, your calls, and even being here with us. We value that a lot. Back to you, Mr. Sia, to close us.
And so, folks, we will leave you with this song that says we are all Liberian, and Liberia is our home. My name is Anthony Sia saying, follow us here always. Like our Facebook page. Subscribe also to our YouTube channel so that when we upload any of our show, if you miss it live on Facebook, you can get that notification. There's something you may learn. Like many of you learned something today. We brought you political music from Tubman to Joshua and the implication thereabout. It was enough education for us to look at where's the change that we are looking for in our leaders. We should find that change in ourselves. Maybe by voting. Maybe by saying no, he's not the right person. Maybe that change will come. But I'm not forgetting that song for you. It's coming. Bye-bye.
We are